There we are. Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's Mike Ames Show, LinkedIn Live. I've got Magnum PI over there to this side, whichever that is.
My moustache fell off this morning, so I'll grow that back later, so it won't be a problem.
An absolutely fantastic shirt. And then we're joined as well by Graham Wilson, who's on my other side, much more suave and debonair and sophisticated over there.
Professional is what you're trying to say, isn't it?
I don't know about that.
I use my words, you use your words. And today we're going to be talking about project management. So I will just give it a second for people to join in. But Mike, do you want to sort of share why we're speaking to Graham today about this topic?
Yes, I've been aware of Graham online for a long time. And I like the fact that he can communicate his messages very simply, although he's a corporate man and he's done all sorts of things with big companies and lots of them. And perhaps he'll talk about that a little later, but actually it's the simplicity of it. And I know for a fact that a lot of our clients have to run projects. They do, and it doesn't have to be a big project. It can be anything really, and normally, if they're anything like me, they just sort of wing it, really. So I'm very good at managing client projects. I've got a structure and an order. I'm very good at it. But our own projects, not so much. And I thought it'd be great to get Graham on the show to kind of talk to us. So welcome, Graham. Thanks for coming over today.
It's absolute pleasure. So I've just realized it's Mike's show, but actually it's really Kirsty's show. Is that right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Thank you for saying that, Graham.
That's an awkward moment, isn't it? But yes, I think you've nailed it. Now, just before we move on, so Graham runs and owns the founder of the Success Factory, which is a consultancy and training business around project management. I think it's safe to say, isn't it, Graham?
It is, yeah. So project management is one element. Of course, we get involved in leadership, strategy, change, and teams. But project management, particularly in today's world, is a key thing that lots of organizations are trying to transform and change what they do. So that's where we can help them to do that effectively.
Fantastic.
Great. And we're going to make use of some of that knowledge today. So over to you, Kirst, and the Kirsty Ames Show.
So the Kirsty Ames Show. We are going to get into the nitty gritty in a minute. And Graham has 6 steps about how to make project management more manageable for you. So never mind. Made my own joke. But before then, there is one other thing that I want to mention, which is Mike over there in his Magnum PI shirt sometimes looks down when he types, and that's because he's kind of typing things in to scroll across the screen. So please don't think he's being rude.
I'm not doing my emails, is what you're saying.
Well, that's what you tell me anyway. It's trust. But before things get started, what I'd like to do is ask anybody out there, what was the last project that you guys worked on? And if you want to just pop that in the comments, that would be fantastic. So now, Graham, question number 1 is, why is project management so important? I'm rubbish at it and I managed to do my day job pretty successfully. Why is it so important?
So it's a great question to really understand the why. And I guess, as small business owners, it's very easy to put project management in that box of strange world out there with strange people doing strange things and strange language. But for me, I try to link project management to performance of your business. So any business is on a journey. Any business can get better at what it does. So I like to look at project management is probably the wrong phrase, really. I think it's more about having a project mindset around how do I improve what we do. So how do I grow my business? How do I actually operate my business more effectively and more efficiently? And how do I make sure, if I'm growing my business, how do I make sure I've got the right people in the right place at the right time doing the right stuff? And any business is on that journey, and there's a gap between where they are now and where they need to get to, and that gap really is obviously your strategy or plan to get there. And I think any business should have a plan on the page which says we're here now, we want to get to here, these are the 4 or 5 things we need to improve in order to get to where we want to get to. So the reason why project mindset or project thinking or project discipline or project management is important for business owners is it's a way to actually work on your business. It's very easy for us to work in our business, deliver stuff for our customers, and we forget to get that balance right around working on a business. And the working on a business is around, we know we should do it, but what is it? So it's about identifying the things that perhaps your customers have problems with that you can solve, that you're not solving now. It might be things in your business, like, for example, your marketing could be improved. Or if I think our own business in Success Factory, back in March last year, we had 2 years worth of bookings in face-to-face delivery, and by the end of March, that all gone. So we had to very quickly, change what we do from, going from face-to-face delivery into, online delivery, and very quickly run a series of projects to change our operating model. upskill our team, make sure we can all operate with Zoom and Teams and all this sort of stuff and work virtually. So I think, fundamentally the key thing is that if you want to have a really successful business and have a really successful life, which is the most important thing, isn't it, in any business, is you got to have that mindset that says, I want to continually improve what I do. It's something that sports teams do naturally, don't they? They just don't go out and play sport. They identify where they are. They reflect on that and go, okay, well, in order to win the World Cup, for example, we need to be able to do this. So we can't do that now. So what are we going to do to improve? So they have a series of initiatives or projects they'll do. So if you link that to having a one-page plan, one-page plan is about answering 3 questions. How do I grow my business? How do I operate my business more effectively and efficiently? And how do I make sure I've got the right people? So if you answer those 3 questions, there'll be some things that come out of it that you need to improve.
Yeah.
So,
can I just unpack that a little bit? Because there's a couple of things in there which I think are absolutely vital. Well, it was all vital, but there's a couple of things I'd like to draw attention to. I think that the first thing is that this working in your business and on your business thing. I think a lot of people listening to this, and by the way, we will come to the comments because we've had quite a few in a second, but a lot of people listening to this are recruiters or in sales, and it's very transactional, which is working in your business. It's very immediate and very proximate. And so they mean to work on the business, there's no doubt, but before you know it, 3 months have passed and they've been transactional the whole time. So I think it is, and the sport analogy was a great one. It's not just about being on the pitch, is it?
No.
There's a whole bunch of stuff that goes around. So when you're on the pitch, you're fabulous. I think that was a really important point. And also your journey, we had the same thing last year.
I think a lot of people did.
We had no business and no clients. So and we did exactly the same. You probably were much more efficient with your project plans than we were with ours.
100% guaranteed.
But we did the same. We jotted down what we needed to achieve and we went through it and got to the result. But massively important. Do you want to come to some comments, Kirst? Come on, let's see what we
have had some comments. So like Nigel said, Project Lockdown. I think a lot of people's most recent project was probably to do with coronavirus. Yeah, I think a lot of people, and I imagine Nikki's comment here, I imagine a lot of people's projects are centered around IT or that kind of base, because IT is so integral to pretty much everybody's industry nowadays, isn't it? Yeah. And then we've got a lovely comment here from Rob, which is just to make you feel better.
That's very good, Rob. Yeah. We'll invite him on the show. Let's get Rob on the show. Nice thing.
I know Rob quite well, so there you
go. Don't ruin the mystery.
Don't ruin it, Graham. It's one of the fans. He's my brother-in-law.
Okay. So what I got from that really is that a lot of what you're doing it's about project management. It's about being intentional. It's about putting your business where you want it to be and sort of coming up with a plan to execute to make it easier for you. Fantastic. So now we know kind of why project management is so important. What I imagine somebody like you gets a lot of project management sort of description. So people come from very not great project management all the way up to great project management. What does a great project look like?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, there's this whole misnomer about what is project management. So for me, fundamentally, you've got to remember it's something that you do to actually improve something. So you take an idea and you put it through a process and it delivers some benefit for the business. So it's interesting that a lot of people relate project management to IT, which I think it is part of that. But there's lots of other things around, for example, one of the projects we've had in our business is to make sure that our team are resilient. So developing, resilient skills in lockdown is a project. So, we're not very resilient at the moment, but we want to be resilient. So how do we do that? So we run a project that will help them to actually improve their resiliency skills. So it doesn't have to be just something hard and tangible. It can be something around team performance. It can be down to how you improve your business planning. It can be how you improve your financial management. So it can be anything really, but it's about that improvement bit. So what a good project looks like is any business success, I think, fundamentally is around understanding what problems you solve for your customers. It's about having a value proposition that addresses those issues. It then has a plan on a page. So everything you do in your business should be linked around this plan on a page. So if we've got 4 or 5 things that we need to improve on a business, then you should do nothing of no use. So the first stage of a project, the first stage.
I'm trying to get my head around that. Nothing of no use. Is that a triple negative?
Yeah.
Double negative.
Many people go, oh my God, this has happened in our business, and I'll spend a lot of money and resource and time on a project which is not going to add us any value when they should be spending money on something else.
Okay.
The classic case of, in big corporates, you get people go out on conferences, they see the latest software, the latest shiny thing, and they go and spend millions buying it, and then they try and install that in their business now, which is really difficult to do because no one wants it apart from the person who's bought it. And it doesn't link to this and all that sort of type stuff. So for me, the fundamental point I'm trying to get across is you should never do a project unless it's going to add value and align to what you're trying to do as a business.
Can I just clarify on that just a second? So what you're saying is you've got a situation, there is a project, you have a new situation.
Yeah.
And to be effective, we're going to go through the steps now, I know, but to be effective, that project shouldn't be doing anything that it shouldn't do. It's not about extravagance or indulgence. And it should be something you can control and steer. That's really the 6 steps that we're going to talk about. That's pretty much it, isn't it? It's a transitional tool.
Yeah. So give an example of that. When I started my business 27 years ago now, I'd come out of the corporate world. It had our first child. I thought, right, I need to create a business now to earn some money. I was sat on Ross expensive children. And Mike will know that. We're sat on Rossnagar Beach in Anglesey with a notepad saying, what's a wonderful life for us? And coming up with words like adventure, travel, making a difference, making a positive impact, teaching, all that sort of type stuff. And those words then became my outcomes of creating my business. So in order to create this wonderful life, how do I now create a business that's going to give me what I need out of my life? So that was like a mini project that was started to create the business, which is now Success Factory. And that stayed true all the way through. So you've got to be really clear about what is it, why is it doing it, but what the benefits of the project are. So the first stage of these 6 ones, really.
Ooh, we're going in.
Simple, by the way.
We're going straight into the how. I love it.
Come on, let's do it. Let's get in there.
The key bit is, if you can do a project on a page, do it on a page. It doesn't have to be complicated. You can fit all that corporate stuff, that stuff where it's bureaucracy and all that sort of stuff. And I can remember leaving the military, joining the corporate world, and setting a meeting and thinking, I'm quite an intelligent guy, but I have no idea what they're talking about. They're talking about work.
I still do. It's still my life.
In terms of references, scope of work, I don't know, CPAs, mitigation. I'm thinking, I have no idea what they're talking about.
All of those words make me panic.
Well, we have a problem, we have an idea, we have an opportunity or a problem, and we're trying to solve it. That's what they're trying to do, but they're using this strange language. So the first stage really is really what I call understanding or discovery or learning, really. That's the first stage. And going back to that, what was it, double negative, whatever it was, do nothing but use. I think, you're reviewing your business, you're reviewing the needs of your customers, you're reviewing what's going well, not so well, you're previewing what's required in the future as well. And what that does, it comes up with a set of ideas or opportunities or things you need to do. For example, was it a couple of years ago, was GDPR, wasn't it? It was something that was forced on us, that we had to run a project to implement that in our business. So that's an example of that. Or it might be suddenly your customers have a need that haven't been required. So for us, we've spent a lot of time helping our corporate clients change to virtual working as well. So teach them how to use Zoom and being more resilient as well. So that you've got to be doing things. True innovation is about solving customers' problems, isn't it? So that understanding stage is really important. And the trick there is you should make sure that what you're doing is desirable. So what I'm saying there is it's desirable for your customers and desirable for you. So it helps you to, if you know what your purpose is, you know what your goals are, you know what your values are, you know what your proposition is, then everything you do should be aligned to that. So, if we do this, it will help us to improve our outcomes. If we do this, it's aligned to our values. If we do this, it's going to help us to live our purpose. So we should do it. So desirability is one check. The second thing then is, is it really viable?
That's such an important one, I think.
Is it going to?
Can I just dive in on that for a second? Just a second. Could you? I know we've got some questions coming in a minute, but could you just put in there if you've done something and actually you wished you hadn't? If you'd run a project and at the end of it you think to yourself, do you know what? I shouldn't have done that.
Or even halfway through.
Halfway through,
Mention no names, of course, because it's confidential. But I know in the corporate world there are organisations that have spent millions and millions and millions and millions of pounds on a project that should just be stopped because it's not delivering what they need to deliver, but they can't stop it because they spent millions and millions and millions of pounds and it'd be embarrassing to stop it. So they carry on spending money on it. And There's a classic example in the NHS project, wasn't it? Which was the information.
IT, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, IT, wasn't it? The IT sort of the patient records, that we paid for, by the way, didn't we? In terms of our money, that went on and spent billions and delivered nothing. And I think that's really strange. So
my background is IT, Graham, and I've worked on lots of projects that never got implemented. So I don't know whether there was a common denominator there.
There's a common theme there, Mike, isn't there?
Okay, let's go to questions first. Let's go to questions.
So what I will say is I'm going to try and make it so that we kind of have 5 minutes at the end for Graham to answer questions. But Stephen Telford's got a great question here. Do you see the value in recruiters obtaining project management qualifications?
Okay.
Good question, Stephen.
That's a great question. My honest answer is if you're going down the qualification route, then you're probably thinking about it in the wrong way. Unless you want to do it as part of your CV. Quite often you'll go on a qualification course which will force you to learn project management in a certain way. And then what we do is we then teach you how to do it properly.
It's a bit like us in sales, actually.
Compensation, I guess, those. But I'll give you an example. I could take someone who's never done a project before, take them through a 5-day Prince 2 project management course. They then pass that because they're bright and we've told them how to pass the exam. They're now a Prince 2 practitioner. So Prince 2 is a project methodology, stands for Project in Controlled Environments. But they can't deliver projects because they don't know how to work with people. They don't know how to engage stakeholders. They don't really know how to run a project. They just know the theory behind it. So 2 parts to that question. Go for qualifications if you're looking for a job. These are qualifications. But really, you want to learn it for real. Learn project management for real. What to go and talk to people. A lot of stuff that's charged for project management training out there is freely available on the internet anyway. It's all there for free. So
why pay for things that you can get for free? Fantastic. Okay.
Right. Good question there. So we got this first stage of discovery learning, which is we're trying to find out what we should do and where do we put our resources. The second stage is that viability bit. Is it going to help us save money or is it going to help us make money? So that's where things like value innovation comes in, where the key concept there is that you should do stuff that's going to increase value to your customers and at the same time reduce your cost of operation. So our cost of delivery is lowered, but the value we're giving to our customers is increasing at the same time. So that's a key thing. So that viability thing is important. The third thing then is really about the feasibility. Do we have the skill, the time, the space, the knowledge to be able to deliver it? Can we deliver it at this particular time? So that desirability, viability, and feasibility is a really nice check. It comes from what's called design thinking methodology of project management, but it's a really good thing for small business owners to very quickly say, okay, we've 20 things we could do. Mm-hmm. How do we now prioritize that down to things that we know is easy for us to do, but it's going to have massive impact, and do those first? So that whole first stage of understanding, and I guess the second stage then is to take that idea and make it a little bit bigger, which is the scoping stage, really, which is about what is it and how we're going to do it, how much it's going to cost us. So that whole viability and feasibility piece. And then once you've done that and you've got down to sort of 2 or 3 things that you're going to do to run as a project, you then create a team. And this is a really important bit because unless you can do the project yourself, which you can do with a small project, but typically you're going to recruit people or you're going to get people from outside that can come in with their subject matter expertise and actually help you with that project. So it's really important to actually get that team together, bond that team, get to know each other, help them understand why it's so important to do these particular projects and how that fits to your bigger plan and all that sort of stuff. Get them on board, get them created as a team, and then get the team then to craft an approach, which is the next stage.
Before we move to that one, I just want to dig into this a little bit. I know we're conscious of time, Kirst. I've got that, but
it's all right. I'm on top of it. Keep going.
Okay. I just wanted to bring in this external people that you've mentioned, because many of the people listening to this are going to have virtual teams. In fact, pretty much everybody will have a virtual team. Does that bring in extra challenges that people should be aware of in terms of project management?
I think you're right. I think the reason why we call it teaming is because it's a stage that often is forgotten. And you might have, for example, someone in India, for example, doing a part of the project, and someone in America doing another project who never spoke to each other and don't understand that all fits together. So the idea about the team is to really socialize with them, why this project's really important, Why are we doing it? How is it going to benefit the business? How important it is? Who the other people are on the team, and how are you going to work together? Because what you don't want to do is have a series of tasks that you give to people who've never met each other, and then trying to join it all together. It just doesn't work like that. Everyone's got to see the big picture and see how it all fits together.
So what you're saying then, and we'll move on then. I'm sorry about this, but what you're saying is then, whether they're internal or external, treat them the same.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah, and sometimes your external consultancy might have their own methodology, for example. So you need to make sure that they're running it in the way you want them to run it, and giving you what you want to give it. Okay. So once we got this, so the output of that really is, I call it crafting the approach bit with all the key stakeholders on board, because inclusion equals commitment. When you include people, they get committed. Rather than saying this is the plan you're going to deliver, get them involved in creating the plan for you. Once you've got that plan, then it's about delivery. So if you're the project manager, you're leading that project, then it's really about making sure you hold people account, and you break it down into little chunks, and you do regular reviewing, and you keep the project in control, really, which is around, and that's why the reviewing is really important, is what we're doing working? Are people doing what they need to do? Is the project going to be delivered on time? All that sort of tight stuff. So you're regularly reviewing, I call it the drumbeat of the project. And then you're basically ticking off, if you like, all the deliverables that you need to deliver. So if it's a new process, new system, it might be, for example, if it's an IT project, you're taking out one system and putting a new one in. You're making sure people are trained and developed on this new system, all that sort of stuff. There's the technical solution of the actual system itself, all that sort of type stuff. And then once you've delivered that, of course, then
actually just on delivery, I did have a question. Is when you're delivering a plan, again, project management is not my area of expertise, but I imagine plans can change because either your requirements will change, or timeframes will change, or the people, maybe someone leaves, or lots of things can be involved. So when you're delivering, do you have to be a bit flexible with certain things in your plan? You might have to go in a completely different direction, or timeframes. Is that something that you would include here as well?
Absolutely. So that's why we chunk it down into little steps and have regular reviews, because I think, was it Mike Tyson, the boxer, said something like, everyone has a plan until they get punched
in the face.
He
would say that, though, wouldn't he? Really?
That's a strong point.
So you're right, particularly in today's world, and this is going back to the big corporate world, where they'll run a project for a long time with no control and spend all this money without actually having the control. So in business owners, we're spending our own money. This is money that we could use to live we could take out of the business, but we're actually investing back in the business to grow the business. So we want to make sure that it's in control. So absolutely, that if you're doing stuff it's not working, then stop it. And quite often it's very foggy these days, isn't it, where we know we need to change something, but we don't know how to change it, and we don't know what we need to change to. So you are, I call it chunking it down into little steps. Little tiny steps, one step at a time. Do a step, stop, review, plan the next step, So what's really great about that for people who aren't project managers, you don't need a detailed end-to-end project plan. All you need to do is plan the first step in detail and have an idea about what you're going to do next. So it cuts a lot of work. So a lot of time is spent on creating these wonderful plans, because the plan's not the most important bit. The planning process is the most important bit.
Right.
Wow. Can you just dig? I know we'll come to questions in a second, but before we come to questions, just explain that again. So it's not the plan, it's the planning process. So what does that mean?
Okay, so back to what Kirsty was saying there, plans evolve. I don't think I've ever delivered a project where at the start of it we had a plan that didn't change in 40 odd years worth of delivering projects. So things evolve and change. So when you think about that, really, getting people together and debating things, discussing how you're going to do it, using all the intellectual capital to have in your team, because it's not possible as business owners to have all the answers. So we shouldn't get into that trap of thinking we know everything. So it's about how you use other people, and you take a step forward. So how many organizations at the beginning of last year put together a plan for last year? I
imagine a lot.
We got to March and went, well, we certainly did. Oh my God, we need to change it all. So that's why you have to. It's called doing a W, not a V. So a V is you plan it all in detail and deliver it, whereas a W is you break it down into little chunks.
Lots of W's,
lots of W's, and it's that step-by-step approach. Makes you more agile, but makes you more control, but also controls your money as well, which is important in a small business. Is to make sure that you're not committing to too much that's not going to add value, and that ability to be able to kill a project, because we all try things out, don't we? And we all do things with the right intent, but sometimes they're not the best thing to do. So
okay. So before we go to, should we want to go to questions now?
No,
Kirsty,
well,
I think the point.
I think we'll go to the last point.
Let me finish the last point. Yeah. So the last point is, once you've delivered everything you said you can deliver, you now need to make the new normal. So this is the whole embedding piece. And this is about, if it's a new process or a new whatever it is, it's about how do we now make that an everyday operation.
Right.
Yeah. So for us, example, we spent a lot of time a couple of years ago implementing a new marketing system into our business. So that changed the way people worked. So how do we now make that a natural way of working? So how do we build that into our rituals, routines, and ways of working? And also, of course, is to then review back over the whole project to think, okay, what have we learned from that? What can we learn from that? That next time we run a project will be even more effective at what we do. That's fundamentally what it's all about. And then measuring the fact that we've got this new CRM system, for example.
I was going to say CRM systems must be a big one on that last one,
or
making sure it's
or whatever it is. Yeah, whatever it is. Or
CRM's a big thing in our world. Right. Questions in a second, but I'll just read through those 6 things. Now, if people are interested, you have a book which kind of has those in them, I think, which people could read. Could you just put the link in the comments for that, Graham? And then if people want to buy it on Amazon, they can go and get that.
Got a book on leadership, which obviously it takes it in the broader topic area. But I'll also put a couple of documents. For example, I've got a 1-page document that explains the whole process.
Brilliant.
So it's got the process, and on the back of it, it's got some 22 tips and hints about how to run a project. So I'm more than happy.
You would do that. Perfect. Thank you very much. Kirsty, over to you.
Yeah, so I will summarize up in a minute, and I will say if you're watching the recording of this, then if you put questions in the comments, then I'm sure Graham will go through and answer them as he goes through.
Yeah, we'll have to do that.
Perfect, thank you. So we've got just some interesting things. So this is Stephen saying he was the one who asked the question about the project management qualifications, which we didn't refer to as poppycock, but very close. And when we were talking about making your team a whole team, is that something that does cause an issue when you have virtual teams, especially cultural differences? Like North America is very different to Europe, for example. There's a very different sort of vibe to it. Is that something that's big?
What it is, really, it doesn't matter where people are in the world. Obviously, you've got time zones, things like that. But the key to it is to agree how you're going to work together as a team. So it doesn't matter what culture you are. What's the purpose of the team? What are our working practices? What are the processes we're going to use? How are we going to communicate? Where we're going to store stuff? All that sort of stuff that just needs to be set up early on before you start getting to delivery. Because if you don't do that before, people are storing stuff in different areas. No one knows what's going on. There's not a central project area where people can access at different times throughout the world. That sort of time zone bit. So it's setting up. I call it setting up the team for success. How are we going to meet? How often are we going to meet? Where do we put all the stuff? What version of documents we get? All that sort of tight stuff that needs to be set up in the team environment. Bearing in mind that we're all different and we all have different cultural backgrounds. And in a really big project, for example, in a big organization, for example, where we're doing massive big projects, we will spend time, a few days building the project team, from a team development point of view, around getting to know each other, understanding our strengths, really doing that bonding stuff and really spending a lot of time, because that's the bit that makes the huge difference, because a lot of people focus on deliverables but forget about the relationships.
Right.
The problem with that, of course, if you do that, you get what's called the dead body syndrome, where it's all about deliverable. So performance starts off okay, but then dies.
Right.
Because no one wants to work with you and no one wants to deliver because they don't like you and there's a relationships not there. So it's about making sure you build relationships first, and then you can put your foot on the accelerator. So you're creating this high challenge, high support, trusting environment where everyone knows why they're there. Everyone knows what value you're adding. But everyone knows what they're delivering and when they're delivering and how it all fits together. And if I don't do this, the impact on this is going to be this and all that sort of type stuff. And that teaming stage is probably the bit that's often forgotten in project.
Particularly, I'm guessing, again, I know you want to wrap up now, Kirsty,
yeah, do you?
Particularly if you've got external people that you don't know very well. Because I'm thinking small businesses, again, they probably won't be international, but they might be bringing a supplier in. I mean, we get brought in to do certain things and we're part of a team for a while. So even more so then, isn't it? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely.
All right.
Okay, Kirst.
Yeah, so I mean, I just want to put this up. Nigel makes a really strong point. If you don't have a plan, how are you going to have a plan come true? And I like that, Nigel. I very
Yeah,
much
like
Nigel.
that. Very good.
Wise words, Nigel. Yes.
Okay, all right. So, I mean, what we've learned today is project management's important because it makes you more intentional with your business. When you get larger and you have more people to sort of look after, you have larger teams, project management's going to help you get where you want to go in the right sort of time frame, in the right sort of cost level. And that looks at lots of different things, yourself, your team, your clients, all sorts of things. And the six sort of steps that we've got is, first of all, you need to understand and discover what it is. Figure out what your priorities are. Then you need to then scope the project out, put it on a one-pager, as it were. Have it on plan on a page is what we've
plan on a page.
Plan on a page. Then you assemble your team. That's both internal people, like maybe you want to add into hires, as well as external people, virtual teams and such like that, consultants. Fourthly, you work out what you need to do and who is going to do it. I assume sort of time frames is in there as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
In that neck of the woods. And then you deliver the plan, you run it. And that includes things like reviewing it. So you deliver the plan.
That's number 5.
Like step number 5. Go on.
Oh, sorry, I was miles away there.
Yeah, it wasn't very good. There you go. This is why I'm in charge. Then but that delivering the plan isn't just I made the plan at the beginning and I do that, I stick to it. It also involves reviewing after each step and making sure that, maybe we need to tweak this, or maybe that's no longer relevant, and lots of other things. And then finally, with 6, you embed what you've done. You make it the new normal. Anybody who's implementing a CRM system, this is the big one.
Don't keep talking about CRM. It makes me sweat.
No, it does. But, that involves looking back about what went done well and looking back on things that maybe moving forward you wouldn't have done in a different way. So, I mean, for me, this has been really interesting. Like I said, project management is not a skill that I possess, and it definitely makes it a lot less frightening for me moving forward. And I understand sort of the purpose of it. So I very much want to say thank you. And we've, Stephen.
Thank you. Yes. Can I just, thank you, Steve. So just round up with a couple of things.
Take us out,
First of all, thank you for Kirsty for doing the old in the chair, Kirsty in charge. Warrior, because she's got on a T-shirt, I think you'll find. Yeah, there you go. But a special, obviously, thanks to Graham for coming along today and sharing with us his knowledge and experience. And I'm sure that he'll interact in the comments and go and write things and do things with people. Can I just say as well, for next week, guys, it's just Kirsty and I, and we're going to be doing blockers to scaling a small business, because we've been talking a lot about it with our clients recently. So that's going to be exciting. So is there anything else? One last piece of advice, one thing in one sentence. Go on, Graham, go for it.
Well, I was just thinking, as you put that out there about scaling your business, if you can't run projects, you can't scale your business.
Perfect. Perfect.
Nailed it.
Okay then, guys. Thank you again, Graham, and we'll see you.
Yeah, absolutely. Been a pleasure. It's been great working.
We'll see you next time. Thank you.